Hi, thanks for staying with us on PSL Living. I'm Jenny Newell. A recent incident at a local bank with an ATM skimmer has raised some concerns. We thought it would be a good idea to bring on Detective Wade Willnow from the Port St. Lucie Police Department to talk more about what exactly an ATM skimmer is and how you can hopefully protect yourself from being a victim of this kind of fraud.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm happy to talk about it.
Absolutely.
You know, ATM skimmers are going to become more prevalent than they have been in the past because of all the switch by merchants over to the chip reading machines. The ATMs don't have a chip reading, neither do gas pumps, and so they're going to be more skimmers. And what a skimmer is it steals the information on a magnetic strip on the card. Not the physical card on the face, but what's on the strip, which is the same information that's used to conduct a transaction.
Okay.
On an ATM skimmer, the whole purpose of it by the criminals is to camouflage it. So it's going to look just like the machine that you expect. And unless you're trained to look for any subtle differences, you're not going to catch it.
Okay.
The way you determine if there's a skimmer or not is to actually kind of tug or pull, because if there is one there, it's set up with double-sided tape to easily come off.
Okay.
You don't go at it with a screwdriver or a hammer. No. You don't have to bang it.
Let's not vandalize an ATM machine.
It's designed to pop off very easily. So if it's the type that has a beak that you manually put your card in and out, you know, like at the Publixes and things like that, you can just tug on it. Or if it's at a bank ATM where it's got the, you know, the little edging around it and it's flat surface and it sucks your card in, you can kind of pick at it a little bit. If it pops off, you're not going to damage a regular machine, okay, if you just pick at it with your finger. But if it's a skimmer, it'll pop off.
Okay.
And if you do find a skimmer, if it pops off, please don't handle it, right? Call 911, have an officer come out to take possession of it so that we can fingerprint it and stuff. And we may need to take the fingerprints of the person that found it to make sure we can eliminate those.
Okay.
When there's a skimmer, there's also going to be a camera, but trying to find a camera, if you're not trained for this, there won't be a camera if there's not a skimmer. So always go for where the card port is.
Okay.
That's where a skimmer would be if there was one attached. Okay. Check that. If it doesn't pop off in your hand, then you're good to go.
Okay. The victim of this recent incident said that he felt, he put the card in and felt like the card just went in further than it usually does.
Yes. On that situation, it wasn't at the ATM machine itself. It was on the door going into the secure ATM machine area.
Okay.
And so what criminals will do is, why put it on a machine where someone might pull and tug on it and check there? We'll put it on the door. They won't even think about that because they're thinking, I want to get to the machine and run my transaction.
Right.
Well, anywhere you put your card in could be a skimmer. So if it's something you put your card in, such as the door access, you want to pop, see if that pops off, which it would have.
Right. And we're not trying to instill panic or fear in people, but it's just being cautious. And I'm someone that never has cash, so when I go to the ATM, I mean, it's just a constant thing. I just have to get in the habit of just checking it. It just takes a second.
Yes.
Just put your hand on it and check that little where you would put your card in, the slot.
Exactly.
Right there. Because ATM machines, I think, typically do have cameras. I mean, you can see the one that I use, I can see, the little camera, that's easy, but to do a whole check it's not realistic.
Right, exactly.
So, if you can just kind of tug on that.
Just where you put the card in, if it's at the door or it's at the machine itself, pick at that. If it pops off, call 911. If it doesn't pop off, do your transaction, you'll be fine. Okay.
Do you reckon, I thought we were supposed to be, we didn't want our cash to be stolen, so that's why we carry card, but now we have an issue with cards being, the information. What is safe to carry, I guess?
Well, I mentioned gas pumps as well, right? Gas pumps, skimmers would go inside the machine, so the customer, there's nothing to pick at or check. There's no way to tell if a skimmer's on that machine, that gas pump, right? Okay. And they don't do the chip cards yet because they won't be that way for several years.
Right.
And so criminals know this, and they can't put them in the stores anymore with the chip reading machines. And so now they have to consolidate all their skimming devices into ATMs and gas pumps. So there's going to be a lot more, right? Because their availability of stealing from your cards is shrinking to gas pumps and ATMs. So if you want to make sure that you absolutely guarantee that you won't get skimmed at the pump, you're going to have to go inside and use their chip reading machine, right?
Okay. Or pay cash.
Or pay cash, of course.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I say this every time you're on here, but not that you never hear for a good thing, but we just, it's scary out there.
Oh, yeah. Multi-billion-dollar business to steal your identity, to steal your information, and it's not difficult for them.
I was going to say, it's not that these criminals are that sophisticated. It's just that they find the technology to do it and doctor up something that looks legit.
This isn't someone that just makes this up at home and says, I think I'll start doing this to make a little extra cash. These are organized groups, organized crime. So you got the people that make up the machines or the devices, and then you got the ones that run out there and install them. And now they put Bluetooth and Wi-Fi on there, so they don't even have to steal them back to get your card information. They just need to be in a close proximity and they can download it remotely.
You mentioned the chip reader. Or in retailers, that is a safe technology?
If you use it in that way.
Okay.
But if you still have, on a chip card, you still have a magnetic strip. So if you use that chip card by sliding it through at a merchant that doesn't have a chip reader machine, or at the gas pump, or at the ATM, it can still be used by just a strip. Then you can have your information stolen. If it's used by inserting the card into the chip reading machine like it's designed to be, and you have to wait and wait and wait, which is an inconvenience, but that's the way it works for now. And then it says remove the card, you're safe because it's encrypted and it uses that chip. Okay,
gotcha. Is this something that's fairly common on the Treasure Coast or in our area?
Well, Florida's number one.
Of course we are.
For fraud. Okay, California used to be, now we are, especially South Florida. And yeah, it's common everywhere. Everywhere.
Okay. Why do you think we're number one?
Why? Oh, because it's a great place to live. It's great weather. I mean, if you had millions and billions of dollars of somebody else's money, where would you want to live?
Yeah, that's true. Someone once told me that sunshine attracts shady people, and then that always made me laugh. But it's not funny because it's true. It's true. Okay, so once again, give us these tips. You go up to an ATM. Drive through, walk up, any kind of ATM.
Right. If there's an access door to get into the ATM, where you put your card in to get through the access door, pick at that, see if that plate pops off. If it's a legitimate plate, it's bolted or screwed in place. It's not going to pop off with your fingertip.
Okay.
If it pops off, and you'll see, it'll pop off, you'll see double-sided tape and a bunch of electronics, that's a skimmer.
Okay.
Call 911, guard it until the police get there, take possession of it. They may, again, have to take your fingerprints to make sure that if
it's not you.
Yeah, well, when we process it, we want to make sure we eliminate the innocent.
Right. Exactly.
So if you just picked at it, you won't have your fingerprints on it. If you pick it up and you start playing with it and saying, what's this? And you're going to have your fingerprints on it. We're going to need your fingerprints to eliminate. If it's at the ATM machine itself, being if it's the type that sucks your card in, you pick at the edge, the border, and where the throat is that the card goes in. If it pops off, it's a skimmer. If it doesn't pop off, you're good. If it's the type that you manually put in, it kind of like I call it a beak that sticks out, and you manually put your card in and then pull out. Pull at that, tug at that. Make sure there's not a hole in the bottom of that little beak with wires exposed, because they're doing that as well, using drilling into the actual beak of the machine. You're good to go. You're fine.
Okay.
If it pops off, don't play with it. Call 911, have us take it in possession, and we'll fingerprint it, and we'll find out who eventually put it there and arrest them.
Okay, fantastic. Well, this is great information. Hopefully people will just be aware and be cautious and just use their best judgment, and just it takes a second, just touch that.
Situational awareness, very important.
Yep, absolutely. So again, ATMs and gas pumps, we need to be most aware of those two places.
Yep.
Okay. All right. We thank you so much once again for educating the public. I know that you're very passionate about fraud. There's all kinds of fraud. We'll definitely have you on more to talk about all the different kinds of fraud and all the different things you need to be aware of. So we really appreciate all that you do and helping to keep us safe and our community safe. So thank you again so much. Detective Wade Willnow with the Port St. Lucie Police Department, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after these messages.